Circus. Season 5, and just a little bit in Season 7. I love you too, whoever said that. And today, what we've done to celebrate Buffy turning 20 is something that's really never been done before. We've brought together people from all 3 of the projects, the original movie. Unfortunately, Christy Swanson couldn't join us because she is shooting in Vancouver, so I'm sorry everyone, but we have representatives from the movie, we have people from the show, and of course from the comics. So it's really the first time that that's been done. We're just going to facilitate a discussion about why Buffy has the, fan base such as you guys, and the longevity, and just talk about all aspects of Buffy. So without further ado, I would like to introduce our panelists from the original movie, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. We have Randall Battenkoff. And from the TV series, Mr. Nicholas Barretton. Also, the TV series, Mr. James. Dark Horse, Mr. Scott Alley. And finally, Mr. Georges Genty. So like I said, this is the first time that a representative from every piece of the Buffy legacy has sat on one panel. It's very exciting for us. So we're going to start with a few questions up here, but of course we're going to open up to you guys for a Q&A. But I'd just like to start by asking you, Jane, why do you think the Buffy legacy has remained so vibrant and so visible over the course of 20 years in 3 different mediums?
I think it's because high school still exists and high school is still hell.
I never thought of it that way before. It's really quite simple, isn't it?
It still speaks to people. Like if Buffy can get through this, I can get through this. People identify with her. Not just girls, everybody identifies with her.
Absolutely. And Nick and James and Randall have a question for you guys. In your careers as artists, what has Buffy kind of meant to you?
When did I become an artist? That's what I want.
Nick, tell us about getting cast for Xander.
I was not the first choice. No, I went in, I met with the casting director, and I did it a particular way that I act, and she said, no, do it this way, completely differently. So then I said, okay, so I met Joss about 4 hours later that day for the first time. And Gail Berman, who was one of our executive producers, was in the room, and she was on the phone talking to somebody, and I just kind of walk, and I'm like, hey, tell that person they stole my money. I'm like, blah, 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 bing, bing. And then I do the scene, and Joss, the way I was instructed, and Joss is like, that guy that walked in the room, do it that way. And I'm like, I knew it. So then I did it that way, I wanted to do it, and then I got a phone call that I was testing a Fox on a Friday, and then the next day, and I just literally, it was just nothing but loose bowel syndrome. You know what I mean? So nervous. So nervous. So I go, and like, I'm so special, and I go to test a Fox, and there are like 9 other Xanders there, you know? And I'm like, maybe I'm not that special. So I did my scene, I was really nervous, and I ended up sitting in the head of Fox Studios was sitting in the front row. Typically the people that are in the front row are the most important people. I ended up sitting on his lap and playing with his hair after my audition was done. Yeah. Well, no, but the note was, they passed 2 of us to the WB on that Monday, and the note was, watch him, he's a bit nervous. And so, on Monday I went in, and it was me and this other guy. The guy went in first, and then I went in, and I had just had a general meeting in this particular office like 2 months ago with this casting director, so I felt very comfortable in this office, and I'm like, oh my god, I know this office. And then I'm doing the audition scene, and I'm like, holy shit, I'm nailing this right now. You know what I mean? I'm like, keep it together. Keep it together. So I nailed it. And I walk out, I'm like, holy shit, I just nailed it. I nailed it. And then I went, and then me and the guy are sitting there about 5 or 10 minutes, and they come out and they say, all right, Nicholas, you can go home. We're going to torture this guy one more time. I said, okay. So what had happened was, since he was the first choice, they gave him the opportunities to do what I just did. He didn't do it. I got the phone call on the way down across the Santa Monica at 8 o'clock in the morning the next day.
I think I speak for everyone here saying they made the right choice. What about you, James? What has the legacy meant to you?
I've never been asked anything remotely like that, for real. I'm kind of stumped, man, but the one thing I can come up with is you really never know what's going to happen in life. Every time you think you know what you're planning on, it all changes. Because I came down to Los Angeles with my nose in the air, having come from theater for like 15 years, and I was like, I just had a son, and I was like, okay, I have to make money, so now I'm literally going to go whore myself out in LA. I always promised I would never do, and I don't care what I do, I'll end up doing some junk for television. And I remember when I got the call for Buffy, I had told my manager that I would do anything. It's like, I'll be Al's sidekick, I don't care. And then I got the call for Buffy the Vampire Slayer, I was like, oh, well, not that. They said, well, James, this is actually really good, man. Just watch it. It has a funny name. He said, do you see the movie? I said, no. And I go, and he goes, this is Tuesday night. Just watch the show and then call us back and see if you want to do this thing tomorrow. And I watched the show, and like halfway into it, I was like, Jesus Christ, oh my God, this is awesome. Yes, I definitely want to try this. So I auditioned thinking that it was a character for one episode, and I didn't see the whole script. And I just went in there and I was like, man, these sides are really fun, man. This is very cool. So I auditioned for it and I got it and they sent me the script and it was I was like, I'm all in the script. I have a big part. And I one thing led to another and they didn't kill me off and I very quickly found myself in a project that had, I'm not kissing your ass, I swear to God I was saying something not here, Jane, but I was in a project. I was in a project with better writing than I often had in the theater that I was oh so proud of having come from. And it got to the point where it actually got terrifying. There was one point in season 6 where I realized that you guys would make me, I had to show up 24 hours, 5 days a week, wear or not wear whatever you guys cooked up, and do whatever you guys decided to have me do to whoever you decided to have me do it, and I had to do that. And like the thing is like, if you do a play or a movie, you can read the script in advance and say, okay, I can give that, or I can put myself through that, or I don't want to. If you sign up for a television show, most of the time, if you read the pilot script, you know pretty much what's going to happen every single other time. It's going to be kind of the same story for 7 years. But with Buffy, it's different. You're signed on for 7 years, but you're going to be asked to do God knows what. And
that wear a bra.
Yeah.
Speedos.
Wow, so I remember kind of being terrified about that and kind of hiding in my trailer going, don't give me another script, please. And then I realized how lucky I was to be terrified. Because as an artist, that's what you want. You don't want to be safe. You want to challenge yourself. You want to be shoved over the cliff and say, you're going to either splat or fly, dude. Start flapping, So it really, for me, it was just surprise after surprise after surprise, and really that I got in the middle of something much better than I ever had thought that I was getting into. So, yeah.
That nobody really knew the longevity the project was going to have.
I just realized I was going to be able to eat food.
Yeah.
And that's always a plus.
Nice. Chew, swallow.
Randall, what about you?
Well, first of all, it's amazing to see so many Buffy fans. I didn't realize there were so many Buffy fans in the world, but it's...
Well, welcome.
Well, when we made the movie, I was asked to play Buffy's boyfriend, Jeffrey, and the character description was basically you need to play a guy who's really stupid. And you know, I had lines like, I don't know, how many people saw the movie? That's cool. So you know, I broke up with Buffy on her answering machine. And I had to. Yeah, who said that? Alright, I love you too. So we just had a great time on the set. We had, you know, incredible actors like Donald Sutherland and Rutger Hauer. These guys were like, you know, major talented actors, and everybody was just having a blast. We had Pee Wee Herman, David Arquette, Luke Perry, of course, and Christy Swanson was kicking everybody's ass. What's that? Go ahead. So then all of a sudden I turned around and we had this TV series, and I was like, holy crap, it's amazing that our movie, you know, all of a sudden was a TV show. And I remember once saying to my agent, maybe you can get me on that TV series. And it didn't happen, but and now here I am 20 years later, so pretty cool. Thanks, guys. Oh yeah, by the way, Josh Whedon, coolest guy ever. I had the best time. Yeah, most down-to-earth guy. Really, of all the people I've met in my 30-year career, Josh Whedon, he's at the top of the list of just cool, mellow guys who know how to tell a great story. So.
Now, Scott and Georges, and to some extent Jane, what was it like to take a brand, the Buffy brand, and to enter into it through the voice of comics?
The way licensed comics are done has changed so much. I've been in comics for 18 years and I've been on Buffy most of that time. And when we first started doing Buffy in, I think, 1998, we had no direct connection to Joss or Jane or anybody involved with the show. We just sent things to Fox and they sent things to us, and we did our best to get it right. And we learned the show by, you know, watching it. And gradually, one of the writers from the show, Doug Petrie, was a big comics fan and wanted to do a comic. So he got a hold of us and said, I'd like to do a comic. We said, great. We did one with him. That led to doing one with Jane. And then eventually Josh was like, you know, I think I want to do this. And that led to Frey. And getting to do Frey with Joss, like, taught me so much about storytelling. I understood Buffy so much better than I ever had before because of getting the experience of doing Frey and learning why he makes the choices he makes and getting to really pick his brain about that. And so the comics shifted a lot suddenly. And then when the show was ending, I got a hold of him and I said, hey, I feel like we've got to stop the comics and kind of wait for a new directive from you for what we do next. Well, if we continue the story after the TV show. And he said, yeah, that sounds good. We should pause and let me think about it. And a lot of time went by until we started season 8. And when we started season 8 in like 2005, I think, that was the first time that the guy who created the show, the guy who ran the show, was saying, I'm going to keep telling the story and I'm going to do it in comics. And it was the first time that a comic was the genuine continuation of the story from the TV show or even from a movie or anything. And it's changed the landscape of licensed comics completely because now kind of everybody's trying to do that. But our experience of doing it with Jane and with Joss and with all the writers from the TV show makes it really unique and gives us a great opportunity to get the voices right, you know, if nothing else, and to tell the right kind of stories.
I want to ask Jane something.
Yeah.
I always want to know this about the comic books. I was told that when you guys were writing the show, you guys would take the character, you guys would just improv as the characters, and then someone would write down, oh, that's a good line, we'll use that, you know? Like, do you still do that for the comic book?
We actually never did that.
That's one of those urban legends.
We wouldn't exactly give up. Joss would throw out lines in character that we would all write down because they were so brilliant. So we certainly got to hear Joss as Spike.
Okay.
But we would throw out lines, but it wasn't, I think think a lot of people are like, which character do you write for? Where they imagine us sort of having all assigned roles where we're going, and it doesn't work like that. But you definitely say stuff out loud, see if it sounds like Spike. I get what you're saying. But the comic books, no, I think those voices are so in my head now for so many years. I don't have to say it out loud anymore. I hear it in my head when it's Spike.
Who's the easiest character for you to write?
The more extreme a character is, the easier they are to write. So generally, the more peripheral. So like Anya, who's a very extreme character. Jonathan and Andrew, like the more comedic characters, they're always easy. The closer you get into the middle, they get harder and harder and harder. So Buffy's the hardest one of all.
Where do I fall? Where does Xander fall?
Xander's in the third ring from the center.
Third ring, okay. That sounds about right.
Nice placement. And Georges, how about you? When you took on the job of illustrating the actors, what was the process like there?
I was nervous, as I'm sure a lot of people know this. I wasn't really a fan when the show started, or when the comic book started. I was aware of Buffy through pop culture, but I had never seen an episode. And I was told that, I was handpicked personally, Joss Whedon, that whole I thought lip service. That, we really want you to draw this book, therefore we're going to give you the highest praise just to come get you over here. And I thought that's really cruel. But in true to fact, Scott had told me, no, really, Joss really wants you to do this book, seriously. So when I did, I told Joss, look, I'm a little nervous. I don't really do likenesses. I'm not really into drawing the people. I don't think I do that as well. And he really put it succinct for me that he was interested not in a photographic representation. He said, with the comic books, I want it to be its own element. I want Buffy to look like Buffy. She doesn't necessarily have to look like Sarah Michelle Gellar. And for some reason, that just put it in place to me that if you can recognize the nuance of that character, I thought I could get away with it. And then subsequently with the Spikes and the Xanders, and it's funny too, whenever I do these things with a couple of these guys, I'm always looking at them out of the side of my eye going, oh, so that's how they talk, and that's how they move, and that's how they use their hands. Thinking in some way I'm going to use that in the comic book at some point. So I was delighted. I mean, it's been a dream, and I add to, I'm sure what everybody feels here, that we've been so blessed and lucky. And I think, Claire, an issue here is another actor who's been affected is you. I think that they would like to hear what you thought.
What the Buffy legacy has meant to me?
It's meant to you, exactly.
Well, it's meant this. There's not a show I would have rather been cast on, because the fan base, which is you guys, are really what makes Buffy, in essence, the whole experience. I mean, yes, it's wonderful writing, it's great directing, it's really amazing to be such part of like an artistic storyline, and over the seasons to see the stories evolve and the characters evolve, but really what's given the brand its legs is you guys, so I couldn't have asked for a better project. Thank you. And on that note, I feel like we should open it up to a little bit of a Q&A here. I know that nobody probably has a question.
Don't hurt yourselves.
We're gonna, just so you guys know, we're gonna take about 15 minutes of Q&A, and then in the end, we're gonna have a little Buffy quiz. So, if the line is really, really long, we'll try to get through as many as we can in about 15 minutes. All right, and let's kick it off, girl.
All right, first line again. My question is for all of you. I would like to know what each of your favorite quote is from the Buffy series, Buffy universe.
Favorite quote from the universe.
I know, I can jump in, or Jane, you do it.
Well, yeah, I like it when Willow says, it's a doodle, I do a doodle, you too, you do doodle too.
Strangely enough, for some reason, I find myself saying this at shows when I meet a lot of fans, and we talk about it, is what something Spike says. And I just think it's so endearing that I think the sentimentalist in me really appreciates it. But when he goes, I may be love's bitch, but at least I
know. For me, of course, it's one from the comics. I think Joss wrote it, Jane might have written it. Xander says to Buffy, Jean, some alone time, boss. And she says, is there any other kind?
That's too good, that's Joss.
Oh, I thought you were going to say, great Muppet Randy Orton. I miss that sex.
Out for a walk. Love you, baby.
I think the one that I just think it's, oh, this will not please the Dark Master, Vader. I just love the whole Dracula thing. Loves bitch.
Mine is in the film, of course, when Pee Wee Herman gets stabbed and he just goes, oh!
And I would have to say mine was, did anyone know the Slayer was a robot? Thank you. Yes, sir.
Hi, my question's for Nick and James. What's it like seeing yourself in comic book form? And is that weird? And like, if you follow the comics, do you like where your characters are going?
Yeah, man, I look awesome. It's awesome because like Spike can live on. They don't have to recast him. I told Josh came to me after Angel came down. We were doing the ADR for the final episode. He goes, "Would you ever like to come back and do Spike?" I said, "Boss, I'll come anywhere in the world you are. If you have one line for me, if you have 50 lines for me, if it's Spike or anything else, I'll come for you. But if you want me to do Spike, you have 7 years, man." I don't want to do injustice to it, so I don't want to make you write some line like, "Oh, he's drinking pig's blood now. He's aging old, you know." Time's come and gone, you know, I'm doing other stuff and paying people's dads and stuff like that, and it's just nice to let the writers keep writing for the character, because I think it's a great character, so yeah, I love it. Yeah.
I never once in a million years thought I would be a comic book hero. I still don't believe it.
It's true. Yes,
So I'm
sir.
sure there are thousands of people in this room who would like to thank you for Buffy and say that it changed their life in some significant way. So okay, we've done that. Now, my question is about the impact Buffy has had on culture. Journalists and bloggers tend to bring up Buffy with every new kick-ass heroine. But I would like to ask you, as people who actually worked on Buffy, what recent work, movie, TV, video game, book, comic, do you look at and think, because of the work we did, that work exists?
Oh, man.
Great question.
The entire paranormal romance genre?
Yeah.
Every time there's a story about a young woman who can take care of her own problems without help from some guy with a gun.
All of the NCISs.
What about Hit Girl? And Kick-Ass, pretty awesome movie.
And I also think that Buffy, you know, broke ground for films that we all enjoy now, like The Hunger Games and Dragon Tattoo. I mean, she was the original female heroine, so now other girls can kick ass thanks to Buffy.
Hi, my question is for James. Spike went through a lot of changes in the Buffy show, from being the badass, you know, bad guy vampire, to being, you know, in the past shots where he was kind of nerdy, and then he kind of eventually became a good guy. We always loved him, but what was it like for your character to play those different roles and for it to change so much?
Yeah, you know, that's, I think, and Jane can maybe talk to this too, because, you know, actually the writing, I always say that the characters are defined more by what they say than how they say it. So, with that caveat, and what it looked like to me, and this is because Joss would come to me every season, about 3 episodes in, and he would go, "I have nothing for you, James. I can't figure out what to do with your character. I've got a story for everybody else, but I've got this for you. You'll think of something." But it always seemed like I was kind of being put in as needed. You know, like there might be some need in the series. at first I was the villain who was supposed to die, so I was a disposable villain. And then I was the wacky neighbor for a while. I was supposed to be the replacement for Cordelia, who went over to Spike. Like the show needed a character to say, Buffy, you're stupid, we're all gonna die. Right? And so that's why you saw me with a smoking blanket all the time, trying to get in the room so I could say that to Buffy. After 2 or 3 episodes, they're like, that's not gonna work. And I thought I was gonna be fired, right? Because it doesn't work. I'm a horrible Cordelia. And then Buffy needed, when she came back to life after she got recalled from heaven, she needed there needed to be some kind of plot where she was reaching out for some kind of life and found drama and mistakes that she'd had in that, so she picks the wrong boyfriend. So then I was the wrong boyfriend. I needed a guinea pig to save the world, so I did that. But in the end, it all, because everyone working on it was really talented, it all kind of stitched together and held as one character. So the ride tended to be a little more diverse than for a lot of different characters. And maybe Jane has a whole different thing about that.
No, I never looked at it from your point of view.
Yeah,
right. Interesting. But the thing is, we knew we had this amazingly versatile character, largely because we had an amazingly versatile actor. So that's why. That's why you were in